my voice all right?
I can hear it start again. Go.
Okay, this is the first take. My name is Glenn Yearwood, and the name Yearwood is associated with an island in the Caribbean. I was born in St. Vincent, Georgetown, and I migrated along with my mother to England in the early 70s. There's much I want to talk about, but let's start with something which is current and fashionable right now. We're in the month of October in the United Kingdom, and that defines Black History Month, according to many and a few. I have a perennial issue with Black History Month, and in short, there's no such thing as Black History Month. There is the history of man, and if you really know Black history, then you'll know the history of mankind, because from carbon, from melanin, comes life. So to study the history of man in 1 month, whether it's in October in the UK or in January or February in the United States, is a madness, and this video is an appeal for those who are interested in Black history to assume that history is not passing, it happens today. So where do we start? We start on the fact that less than 2 years ago I was in a coma. I had fallen out of bed and transpired that I had failed kidney, which was brought on by diabetes. We will talk more about diabetes and its impact on the black race in a while, but for all intents and purposes I was dying, and I put it to you, it's not until you have an opportunity to face your mortality do you then have the capacity to really assemble very quickly what is valuable and what is not. And the moment between life and death, I prayed for a second chance, because I hadn't yet achieved my goals, I hadn't yet seen my grandchildren. I prayed for a second chance, and I said to myself, to the Almighty, if you gave me a second chance, I will correct the things that I have yet to do and that I've done wrongly. So this presentation is about my journey post-mortality. Do I keep talking now?
You keep talking.
Okay. So what is it that's different about me now than it's been different should we call that time when I was just a normal person pursuing normal things? Well, health and well-being is a key thing. I can't overstate that enough, is that the value you have as a human being is not encapsulated in money. It's not encapsulated in things and stuff. It's encapsulated in your well-being, and knowing yourself is what we call having an inner standing. So I'm going to take that inner standing that I think I've now procured and talk to you about Black history. And this is my view on Black history. When I'm frequently asked to contribute my thoughts around Black History Month, I tend to walk away slightly vexed, because if you take the time to know history, then you know that any form of mankind history has come from Africa. We and I represent, and I look like, the First Nation. And to really understand what is history, or Black history, you have to have a sensitivity to two things. One is theology, to understand what's written in the Bible, and what's been lied about in the Bible, and what's been manipulated in the Bible, what's been misappropriated in the Bible. And the second skill and sensibility you require is that one of genealogy, having a timeline and a time frame of mankind. So there is nothing in the world, there's no nation in the world that I cannot show you or demonstrate to you have been influenced by Africans. Because from the continent of Africa, man walked upright and decided to walk to other parts of the world. And what is Africa? Let me give you a breakdown of what is Africa. Africa as a continent has been lied upon. Its cartographic representation of Africa being in the southern hemisphere at the lowest point is wrong. If you imagine Africa as a land mass, then it's actually at the top of the world, not at the bottom. So we have to look, when we look at history, to start to decouple and analyse and put aside the lies and untruths about the continent of Africa. And perhaps the most poetic way I've seen Africa was from an astronaut who was up in space, and was a female astronaut, and her job was to look through the portal and look at the world and Earth rotate, and she would make notes. She said when the United States of America rotated, it took 2 minutes. When Europe rotated past her portal, it took 8 minutes. By the time Africa had rotated through her portal in space, it took 30 minutes. Now, do any of us think about Africa, really, for 30 minutes? And you only get an accurate, proportional representation of the size of the African continent if you go to space. So we're talking about a landmass, and for those of us who need picture power to really understand the size of Africa, the size of Africa from the furthest northern tip of Morocco to the southern tip of Cape Point in South Africa is the same distance as Massachusetts to Buenos Aires in Argentina. And the first thing you have to recognise about the size and landmass of Africa is to first come to terms with how can this huge mass of land not be responsible for mankind's history. If you'd like to know more about that journey, then I suggest you come and spend some time and share some bread with me and talk about Africa.